paychecks.
Now, on CNN this weekend, Tony Reardon, the head of the National Treasury Employees Union, he appeared saying his members, they're anxious and they're angry.
They have been kind of cast in the middle of a fight, not of their creation, and that they do not have the power to resolve. They are fearful of not being able to pay their mortgage, to pay their rent, to pay the college tuition bill for their children, and they want Congress to do their job, Congress and the administration to do their job. We had an individual let us know that recently his wife died. He is unable at this time, because of this shutdown, to pay for her headstone. And he said at the tail end of his commentary to us that he is brokenhearted over that. And you know, that I think in some ways kind of encapsulates what this is, what's going on, what's happening to federal workers. Our federal workers do a great service to this country, and to be treated the way that they are is indeed unfortunate.
Of course, with the shutdown threatening to last well into January, some workers would probably be happy to know if they'll get a paycheck at all. One of them is Lori McCann. She joins me now. She is an IRS programmer and a furloughed federal worker. She's also president of Chapter 10 of the National Treasury Employees Union. Lori, first off, just tell me, how are you and your colleagues doing right now as you deal with this partial government shutdown?
Well, you know, it's a very stressful situation, especially during this time of the year. You know, the uncertainty of not knowing when we will go back to work and whether or not we will get paid is very stressful.
And then, you know, you're worried already about how long this furlough could last, the shutdown could last, and then you learn that the president's decided to freeze your pay increase. I mean, if you could tell President Trump one thing right now to describe what you're going through, what would you tell him?
Well, what I would like to say, especially regarding the shutdown and not receiving a paycheck, it's not even though we have to make our necessary living expenses, and we're trying to figure out how to do that, but it's also expenses beyond that. For example, I recently had a total knee replacement surgery, and I have physical therapy. So at this point, I have to make the hard decision this week: do I continue to pay the $90 a week copay, or do I pay a bill? Do I buy food? What do I do? We have those type of things. You know, I represent 700 members in Illinois and Chicagoland area, and I'm hearing from them and the issues that they're having. You know, so one has a spouse with expensive medicine, prescriptions, $200 a month. Do you pay the $200 a month? Do you cut down on the prescription? What do? You have to provide food for the table, for your children, for your family. What do you do? It's very difficult out here, you know, and what I would like to say is that as federal employees, we are committed to servicing the American people, but we can't do that if we're sitting at home.
And, you know, I wonder, too, it seems as though you're in a state of constant uncertainty. This is the third shutdown in 1 year. Even if they get through this impasse, there's a chance it's only going to be for another short period of time. What is it like to be living under that constant cloud of worry that at any point you could be told that you aren't going to be getting a paycheck for the near future?
Absolutely. As you stated earlier this year, we had two. They were shorter. You know, there's a whole government shutdown procedures that you have to go through. You have to figure out who is accepted, who has to come in. Then you do have to figure out, okay, what am I going to do? How long is this going to take? Am I going to be able to pay my mortgage or rent? Can I pay my car note? What about my utilities? You know, what about my credit cards? There's so many things that you know, that you're questioning at that point, and it's so uncertain. So you can't plan for anything.
Yeah. All right, Lori McCann, we wish you well as you wait for the politicians to make up their minds as to how they want to move forward. We appreciate your service to the United States government, and we wish you luck going
IRS employees will get a paycheck over the weekend, but other than that, it's pretty uncertain. Many say they're not sure how they're going to pay the bills, and some made cutbacks to Christmas. while their offices remain empty.
You don't know when you're going to get paid next.
These 4 IRS employees are part of the many who are left wondering how they'll get by. There are parents.
Even though you're not getting a paycheck, you're still paying for daycare every week. Otherwise, you lose your slot.
And there are grandparents.
This year, I have my first brand new grandbaby. I kind of backed off on buying gifts for him because we just don't know when we're going to get a paycheck.
There are cutbacks on Christmas and canceled travel plans.
I know people who had travel plans to go spend Christmas with extended family. They had to cancel those plans because they didn't want to spend the money.
They are all people caught in the middle of politics.
When we get shut down, it cancels everything, hearings, meetings, helping the taxpayer.
The workload back at the office is piling up, and so are the bills. These people aren't rich.
Paycheck to paycheck, penny to penny. And when you do a shutdown like this, it's not just, oh, I don't have spending money. It's how am I going to pay to get food on the table? How am I going to get diapers for my babies?
These workers and leadership of the National Treasury Employees Union say they just want to get back to the daily grind.
They should get together and work together.
And once an agreement is reached on the 2019 budget, IRS employees will get about a 4-hour notice before they have to be back on the job. That means many of them have to be on standby as they go unpaid. Mike Anderson, KSL 5 News.
In Oklahoma, thousands of employees are being impacted by the shutdown. The National Treasury Employees Union says that most of the 200 IRS workers in Oklahoma are furloughed. We also know the visitor center at 2 parks are closed right now because of the shutdown.